can use this what they call it, this components compound component structure, or let me say you have this whereby you have your flex. You don't need to specify using tailwind to say, oh, I want the flex to be this. Having to write tailwind extra, which is another extra computational overhead, which I tend to hear a lot of people talk about, and I also believe it is true because yeah, it is. And then the most importantly, you have this kind of component that gives you things like defining flex, and then you have properties you can define on it. So it's easy for AI to kind of work with things like this. And because everything is typed, it's not like Tailwind that is not typed. You need to learn how all of the it's difficult for AI to kind of mess up your design, even though they are good with tailwind, yeah. But it's easy for it to like be misguided if it is like a particular design. I want to translate it into something else. Now, look at it this way: it's possible you have like a when you have like your design from Figma or something, and something like what Bo.new does. Like you take the link, you give it to AI. It needs to read through the link. It needs to use the Figma API to like check everything it needs, get the nodes from that design, and then begin to translate based on what he experiences from there. Now, the typical node similar to what you see in this case. You have to flex from to design that. And when you see something like Flex Figma, you know that oh, that means I can define which gives you particular thing like justify, like send baseline and stretch. You have that particular thing which you can do. Now the same thing applies to this component. So you see it in Figma, you can actually map it onto one without needing to reconstructing the same thing from your tailwind. Of course, it looks similar in the real sense of things, but then if your AI tend to see that this exists, typically, I believe it can perform a bit better. That's what I believe. It can perform a bit better if he has something like this to work with. And that is more like a very big plus based on what I've experienced so far on this aspect. So I think one of the best ways we can actually improve design I mean, the UI builder to actual implementation is not just to give AI freedom to just auto complete and begin to assume what it is to give it a bit of structured data that you can work with. AI works best with structured data, even anything entirely works best with structured data, right? So the idea also is to provide that similar experience. Now that I've created a library, a component library that can work with mobile, that can create mobile component like this, that can literally give you any component you want. You want a dialog, it is available. You want accordion, it's literally available without you needing to do anything. All you need to do is just define it this way. So let's say I want to create accordion with this where is accordion? Okay, so say I want to create accordion with what we've built so far. It's just as easy as saying that, oh, I have it this way. It's easy to give AI this and say, okay, copy from here. This is an example. Use it to tweak whatever you want to do. It knows what to do in this case. It doesn't need to create this. It doesn't need to create this. It doesn't need to look for different things to go use to implement what it needs, right? So it's easy. It's very easy for AI. So I thought of it that okay, now that we have this library, we can build a builder around it. Something like what let me see if I've not used Bolt.new in a long while, but I think it should work. So in Bolt.new, you probably could just pass in a I don't know if they're still taking the I don't think they're taking the link anymore. I don't know what other okay, yeah, import from Figma. Yeah. So if you do this, you can import from Figma by just signing up to Figma and then you sign into your Figma account, or you basically just add a new link. You sign up, you connect with Figma, you log in with Figma, then you pass in your name. Figma link is going to do all the processes and create the app for you based on that. But I was thinking about it that okay, so if that's going to be the case, it's probably just going to use Tailwind to create most of these things, or use the normal real style sheets, which we doesn't require Tailwind, but that's subjective. So, but what if you have a library that doesn't require extra dependencies, doesn't require you to install multiple components, doesn't require you to manage metro configurations or barrier configurations. All you need is just a one-line installation, and you have access to the entire thing you will need to do if you're using Tailwind. That is the idea. That seems fascinating, like even to me myself. So when I thought about it, and I was like, okay, that can work. So I got the idea. I was like, oh wow, thank God for this idea, and I'm going to start working on the idea. So immediately the idea came, he dropped, and I was like, okay, fine, we can try to implement this. And I was like, I think that was like 4 days ago. I was like, oh wow, thank you Jesus for this idea. I'll start working on it immediately. So I started thinking about it, And while I was thinking about it, I realized that I did a bit of research. I went and I realized that I would need to be able to access the data from the design itself, which might not be fully structured because everybody design in different ways. But one particular thing you can be sure of is that the nodes will contain most of the information you want. How we now translate that information to the design, the actual code, the actual app is what now is required. Now, currently, we know that yes, AI is good with building apps, but that doesn't mean that AI will always one shot your app every single time. But what if you have a very good color system? What if you have a very structured component? What if you have a way that is defined that you know that once I do it this way, it works? All I need to do is change the props. Even a beginner can do it if you know the right way. Everybody builds something that makes it easy for he or she to work these days. That is the entire reason why I'm doing this. And so if you want to create an app also, all the AI needs to understand this. You want to create a new app, don't stress. All you need to do is using Expo, for instance, just do this. Copy, run this command, and run this command. That's all. No setting up of any extra configuration. And you have a proper color system, a rich color system, and you can use the actual style from React to make some few changes, which you don't even need because we provide literally everything you need for you. A lot of components, right, as you can see here. So we provide almost about 40 components and still counting because there are still other components that do not exist in the documentation, but I have added from here, like things like the toast, like the spacer, the stack, to make it easy for AI to work. Then things like separator, the center, the bottom sheet, things like this. Bottom sheet works out of the box without you needing to install things except you actually need it. Haptics works by default without you needing to add anything. So thinking about how can I add this without making any mistake, I want to just give an AI to just build this for me and use my builder is a good way to work. So we thought about it and we said, okay, what do we need? So the first thing I believe I'm going to need is this. Sorry about the Motex thing. So the first thing I know I'm going to need, I decided that okay, fine. One of the things I'm going to need. So yeah, the reason why you see things like Mutex here is because I tend to teach a lot of stuff about programming too once in a while. So if you're interested in learning like any, this is Rust. When I was teaching Rust a bit today, and yeah, so if you're interested in learning other languages aside from maybe TypeScript or something, just feel free to like drop a message or tell me what it is you want to learn, and I'll be very willing to either schedule one-on-one session with you or probably we can schedule it for a general group or something. It just depends. Just drop a message, right? You can never know. So that happens. So yeah, back to what I was talking about. So what do we need to create something like what both of new does? So two things you need. Yes, you need a model. You can either select 4.5, all of these things are models. They have Opus, which is paid for, and all of those things. So, which is valid. But what if I create one that can actually do this with less tokens for you, with much more structured information? Because now we have the data it can use. We don't need to train anything. We don't need to, except we want to build an in-house platform or an in-house software that we need to train on the documentation. But interestingly, you don't need to do that. So the reason is this: nowadays, most of the documentation we have come with things like this that you can just pass it to ChatGPT. So, for instance, if I want to pass this to Claude, it's just a matter of me clicking this. It takes it to Claude and say, read this and generate this for me. It's that simple. Same thing applies to VS Code, Cursor, Perplexity, and all of those things. So what we don't need to do is not needing to actually train the AI to learn most of these things anymore. What we need to do is just say, okay, this is what you have. These are the rules. We just need to create a set of rules. We need to pass the documentation and probably create like a very proper skill based on what we believe the app. So we just need to create a set of rules. And interestingly, there's a set of rules on how the app works. There's a guide that you can use. There's a styling guide that's very, very strongly documented that tells you how you can use the app, tells you the best practices. We have all of those things in the documentation. So it helps a whole lot. And because it is structured, like once I create this comes next. We are using the components compound component API structure. So it is a very structured pattern. It's more like you're using a builder pattern. It's very easy for AI to work with those things based on my experience. So you can create a button like this. You can use the typical style or you can use the color system we provide. And if you want to use anything that comes from our own special colors, you can access it from theme.colors.blue like this. So you have a whole lot of interesting things you can do. You can use Windows Dimension to make it even better. You can do things like this. You have options. Interestingly, so we can train the AI to work with the entire documentation here by passing it the data and say, read through this, tell me how to do this, then create the app from there. So creating a builder is going to be very easy. We just uh I don't know, use any of the models out there. I think the ones for creating UI mostly now is Sonnet and Gemini, but I think I prefer going with Gemini for now. Gemini can misbehave and hallucinate, but I think Sonnet is a bit expensive, so I'm not going with Sonnet. Sonnet doesn't really have free versions that work for you like that. So yeah, I'll go with Gemini for now until we help paid customers if we decide to make it better. But for testing purposes, we are going to use something that we can work with that's even free to start with. So that's what I'm here to show you guys today. So I've spoken a lot on how we want to get this done and what we can do, accessibility guide, form guide, performance, and all of those things, which is very interesting. So now let's go ahead and create something very interesting. Now, in this case, you don't need to create stuff like card because we already have card defined by default. But in case you want to do it, we provide options for you on how you can do that as well. And that makes a whole lot of sense. So how do we do that? First of all, so you need the API access. So API access to whatever design library you choose to work with. That's the first thing. So the first thing we need to do is we need an API access to whatever design library. In my case, I want to work with Figma because it's easy to decide and say, oh yeah, Figma is like the best approach. This is why you can just draw with Arc. So you like if you look at the builder here, you see you have access to Figma and GitHub, which yeah, we are not using GitHub in this case, just Figma. So I'm going to target Figma and say we are working with Figma, right? So in our case, it's Figma, just Figma. So what do we need from Figma? Well, first thing we need from Figma is we need what do we need? API access. So we need the API access to access uh any design data. And we're going to test this live. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because I want to build this to see if I can vibe code this and then build this live. I know it's possible. Like if we can vibe code to an extent, or let me say vibe start. Let me know it's not vibe code because it took a month for me to rework most of the things that was done. Of course, AI still helped, but I had to point it in the direction to go reclean some of the things, rewrite most of the logic to get the color system properly working and to ship what I expected. Like spent like almost how many hours in the past 1 week every single day to even get the select working as it is currently with colors, with variants. It's difficult for AI to do those things. It's too nested, to be honest. Even myself, I needed to be sure I was doing the right thing. Need to fix a lot of things, the timing and everything. But that is for another time. In case I want to do like a deep dive on how I created this thing, probably create a video on that. But interestingly, what I'm saying here is that when we have this Figma and the API access to access any of the design data, what we want to do next is now to say that, okay, we need Figma access. First thing to go and do is we need to get the Figma. So I'm going to just type Figma API because everything we do nowadays is mostly API. Every single thing is API, trust me. So there's a package called Figma API. I've not seen that before, but let's go to the developer docs first of all. It's a very good option to always start from there. You get the updated information from the team and from the company itself. And so it says, if you can dream
It's
it, you can
17
build it.
hours.
So it says, our developer platform puts the power in your hands to create the tools the teams need to improve efficiency, expand functionality, and bring ideas to life. So take a look at our APIs, documentation, guides, and references to get started. Which, let's see. You say add automate tasks, add new functionality, improve your workflow. Nope, that's not what I want. Dev mode. No, not what I want. Share your build with millions. Shows what you get. Publish and share what you get. Partner with Figma. Join the club. Okay, I can't find what I'm looking for here. I'm not trying to build, I'm trying to assess a particular thing. Okay, let's see. Integrations. API reference. Okay, let's see. I think that works. Okay, not exactly what I was looking for. Well, we'll find it. Don't worry. That shouldn't be a problem. So let's see. Introduction ID with Figma. This. Return the document referred to by key as a JSON object. Okay, I think this is what I'm looking for. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Figma endpoints. So it says, let me zoom this. It says files endpoints allow for a wide range of functionality to get information about files. With a specific file key, you can get the JSON and image representation of the whole file or individual nodes within the file. So what we want is to get the whole file, and returns the document referred to this. The file key can be passed from any Figma URL, which makes sense. So we want to do that. And the component key contains a mapping from node ID to document metadata. This is to help you determine which component each instance comes from. Now, this is a tier 1 endpoint and requires file content read scope, which I assume is paid for. I don't know. But the way they say tier 1, I definitely believe it's going to be paid for. So let's see. It might not be paid for. I'm just saying everything is paid for these days. It's crazy. I understand though. The following table describe role limit by API tier sit and plan. Rate limit are per minute, otherwise unless otherwise specified. So we have the API tier, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, sit is view, collab, dev, and full. Starter up to 6 months. Okay, like I said, I think it is. Professional up to 6 months, 10 per minute. Organization, well, same thing. Let me reduce it. I think that's why. Okay, it's not. Okay, dev and full is 10 per month. Okay, now I understand how it is written. It was a bit confusing before. And how rate limit works for view and collapse seats, requests are limited to a given amount depending on traffic and demand. They actually may be lower. For example, user with a view seat can try who tries to query a tier 1 endpoint might only be able to make 2 requests in a month. Wow. Wow. Okay, that's crazy. So if you make a mistake once and twice, we can't run this again. And I'm not ready to pay for Figma right now, so not happening. So how rate limiting works, we'll make the best use case of this particular thing. So for managing rate limits, Figma uses a leaky bucket algorithm. When the REST API is only full request with the bucket being full or rate being this return a 4 to 9, blah blah blah, those things. So what I want is actual data. So we need a file key. Probably going to do for one Figma file and see if we can solve that. You know what? Rather than wasting time like this. Okay, so let's go back to this. So it says you pass this in, you get things like this, the branches, the role, the this, and this, get file nodes, which is what we want, I believe. Documents, components, sets, styles, all of those things. Examples. They should have like an example so we can even use to test things. Depends. That would have been so nice. Yeah, so that would really help me a lot because I'm trying to use the endpoint, but if the endpoint doesn't exist, how do I help? How do I even do integrations? How do I pay them for their work? Because I'm not trying to use it directly. I'm just trying to like, okay, let me check the REST API. I think that might work. Good. Okay, I think I'm in the tab. There's no payment. Okay, yeah, there's payment somewhere. Getting started. Allow you to securely validate purchase of Figma for. Oh no, this is different. This is different payment. Okay, yeah, this is it. So the Figma IP access supports access and interaction with Figma different products. Gives you the ability to do things such as view, extract any object or layers and their product properties from files, get usage data, or listen for events with webhooks, among other things. So what we just need is properties from files. We want to extract object and layers. So probably everything actually. We want to view and do all of those things. So how does it work? It provides REST. I don't know how it works. It's based on the REST structure, which supports authentication via access token and O or two request and meets via HTTP endpoints. Very much so. Make requests for different resources, files, images, file version users. What if I want to make for a particular design? How do I do that? Okay, so it's fully embedded in this and it's open source. Open APIs, blah, 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 for me, person see this. Let's go here. Let's see. I wish there was an example we could use to even test things out. Like that would make a lot of sense. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go back to the npm library now because I don't want to have to do with this. So it says a thing wrapper along the around that to help us do stuff. So it says chatting with Figma, using Figma library analysis to two-way cloud Figma. Oh, okay. 3 days ago. Finally, I think I see what I want to use. I'll watch the video just to be sure. Yeah, I'm going to watch the video. Okay, so let's check this out. First of all, it says this repository contains the Open API and TypeScript types for Figma REST API. If this I use this to install the API spec and combine this and stuff. So it says this is complete rewrite of the library based on the Figma REST specification. JavaScript this I install with Figma API, and I can call stuff by getting this, get my file or something. I'm not even sure how this works right now. So not clear. I was expecting something I would just click see and just move out, but I think I'm going to do a little bit more digging. Yeah, I've not tried this, like I said. I just thought of it and oh my god. Okay. You know what? Let's go find out. Going back to this. I will watch this. Sorry about that, but I have to watch this. I know it's I just hope this will lead to I don't know this stuff that happens on YouTube. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's I need to watch it to see what happens. So how does Figma API work? Blah blah blah. Compare the API. You know what? I'm just going to watch this. Shouldn't be that bad. Uh, okay, so let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. I'm just going to be skipping it because I don't plan to watch it. I just want to see where the magic happens. Oh, Claude MCP. Okay, I think this doesn't do what I want. This is not what I okay. Yeah, I don't think that's what I want. Let's find that video that tells me what I want. How do I use Figma API? How to is Figma API free? Obviously not. Okay, let's see if it's free. Use AI design generator. Figma requires Figma design AI. Figma setup plan. No, I need okay, not API. Does Figma have APIs? Okay, you know what? I'm just going to ask ChatGPT how to do this. I'm done looking for information that I don't need. So it's just going to be hey GPT. I want to work with Figma API. Can you help? How can I do this? So I I've reloaded to asking AI how to use the Figma API. I have no idea right now. So Figma API is quite well designed and commonly used to build this design to code pipeline exactly what I want to this design to code. So an automation around design systems. Since you already build developer tooling like your React Native UI framework, oh nice. It knows I did that, which is cool. And automation system, the API can be used for things like this. So guys, please, if you know anybody that build mobile apps, tell them to check out the framework. Is a very cool one. I'm very, very serious. I'm very impressed with what it is. So far, so good. It has 166 downloads, so which is very impressive. I'm impressed. So please add to the download and try to use it. It is I can promise you it's a very good experience building anything with it. Anything literally. I even built something like basic on one of the demo I did recently where you can build something like this. And truth be told, there was no single customization here. It's the same colors you have by default that give all of these things and it works. You can see the way it works. If you were trying this on your phone, you'll probably be seeing the haptics. You'll be feeling it without needing to add anything to it. Like it just works. Like everything you see here was just created using the framework, using this framework. That is just 995 kilobytes, not even up to a megabyte. Trust me, it works super well. So you don't need there's little overhead, there's no extra dependencies, no configuration needed. AI friendly. It works. Like it simply works. Please go try it out. Or show it to someone that needs to try that. And the other things coming like toast without you need to install extra toast properties. And it's very, very light. Like one thing I can tell you is that it's extremely light. And whatever you need for everyday stuff, you have it. So dark mode is supported by default. It works with your mobile, your device theme. You can set it how you want. You can persist it. You can do whatever you want. Like it just works. So please give it a like, give it a follow, check it out, send to someone that needs it. It works, it's fast, it's trust me, it just makes sense. Okay, so now let's go back to this. Now that's why I'm trying to be the builder for it. So understand the two main Figma APIs. So Figma is supposed to different API environment. The REST API, when you want to fetch file structure, read component, extract color, typography, which is literally what we want, right? We want to fetch the structure, then read the components. Once we get access to all the components, which is going to be in a JSON format, I believe, so we can then pass that JSON format and convert it into like an XML format and replace all the X and then translate the XML format. Let me not call it replace and like translate or reformat the XML format from the typical XML into an understandable format of our own framework, of Radix native UI framework by AI because it's easy for AI to do nowadays. We don't even need to do anything special. So extra colors and typography, and we have proper color system that AI can use, that the AI can understand without needing to do much. It just makes sense. So then we have access comment, which is useful, and analyze design system. So all of those things are important. So we have all of these things without needing to install any extra dependency. That's how beautiful the framework is. So the typical stack we have the Node.js, Python. We can use any of those things. I probably will use Node.js this time around for now. Then plugin API runs inside Figma. Nope, that's not what we want. So get your Figma API token. That's what I'm trying to do. Like, how do I do that? Okay. Oh wow. Okay, I think this is going to be easier than I thought. So what I'm going to do is simple. I'm just going to tell it to uh okay, I think I'm going to do something right now. I'm going to so I have Codex I've not used at all. I just installed it. I've not even opened it once. I'm probably going to use it. I might not use it in this video. But I might decide to use it. It doesn't matter. And yeah, this is cool. I like this. So it says example idea Figma to copy this component. That's exactly what we want to do. So since ChatGPT is already telling us it's possible, why not go ahead with it? So typical read what did you tools built with Figma API, Figma to Tailwind, Figma to React Native, Figma to Flutter, Figma to React, which is what we have. But we don't have Figma to our own React Native or to Expo, which makes sense. So, which is what we want to build. It doesn't exist. We want to build it. We are going to build it. So, Figma plugin example, and if you want a plugin instead, I don't want a plugin. Powerful idea relevant to your work. Yeah, exactly. This is why we want to build it. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Makes sense. So a powerful tool will be Figma to React Native UI generator, which is exactly what we are trying to do. Extremely valuable for expert developers. So yeah, I can show you. It says it can show me how to build Figma to React Native code generator. So I want I want Figma to copy UI. So the copy UI is what I used to interact with it. It doesn't know that exists yet. Native. So Radix native UI. Here is the documentation for that. So I'm going to go back to the documentation here for the UI library, for native UI library. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it to ChatGPT, and I'll say this, just the app. So this is exactly what I want to do. It's so going to take the stuff, get a Figma URL, convert it straight up, and that's it. So before we do any of this, first thing, let's go and get the Figma API key. I know we need a Figma API key, so we need to go to Figma, I believe, and go use that also. So we go to use that. So we are going to use two things in this based on what I've seen. So we're going to use the Figma API, which is this, and it's it fully typed with TypeScript using promises via ASUS and ES6. So that's what I want. Interestingly, now if you look at this, what I was trying to show you guys, this is 677 kilobytes of files. Very, very nice. And the actual library you're going to trying to convert to is just 999 kilobytes, which is literally just 300 kilobytes extra. Like, it makes sense. So please, if you have not, go use Radix Native UI. It's a lot of goodness in one particular framework, and your mobile development will not remain the same. I can promise you. Okay, so yeah, and it's still in version 0.1. Imagine what is coming next. Just imagine what I'm trying to add to this thing next. You guys will have the update. So yeah. Yeah, next thing, let's go to get your Figma's API token. So we go to Figma. So I'm just going to come on. I'm just going to go to Figma. Let's do this. I'm reading development figma.developer.com. Wait, it says go to Figma, go to settings, personal access token, generate new tokens. You need to log in. I hope I'm not going to share any of my details here, credentials. I'm not trying to do that. Okay, I'm just going to leave there until I come back and it should be fine. All right, so this is going to be the tokens. I'm going to go to settings from Figma. Hopefully, it should be logged in. Yeah, it's logged in. So I'm going to get my token from Figma, and then we're going to use it. Now, this might be the first part of this series. I don't know. I was thinking I could do this in one stretch, but I might not be able to do this in one stretch. Let's see if we can do 2 hours and see what we can bring out. Oh, nice. So these are all the designs I have. Nice, a lot. Yeah, very much so. So I can just pick any of them. It doesn't matter. It might just be one I've worked in. It's one simple stuff I've worked in. And then I'll just use that as guideline. Or maybe one of my playful project or something public that I took off from the internet. I think I'll go with the public ones and see if we can one shot something like that. Uh, whew, let's see. Let's see. Can I pick? I don't even think I have a web stuff I can use. Um, Trying to be sure I don't pick something that I should not display here. Uh, okay, don't worry. We'll pick something from here, I'm sure. Okay, so it says go to settings. This is not what I need to do here. Where's settings here? Go to settings, personal access tokens. Okay, I can't find personal access token from settings. Yeah. Okay, let's go to oh yeah, this is it. Create new tokens. Yeah. Okay, so we're good to go. So I'm showing you guys all of this. I know I'm showing some other credentials, but yeah, I'm sure you guys will not miss. You don't want to say anything there. So personal access token gives you access to the Figma API as if you're a single user, which is fine. Token exploration should be 30 days, April 5th, which is fine. The token name, I'm just going to give it a name. I'm just going to call it copy UI native demo or proto. So this is not going to be the main one. It's just going to be like the prototype. So this says generate new token. Do I click? Do I not click? What do you want me to do? You know what? I'm just going to do what I feel is right here. The users, current user, read the current user. Nope. Don't read the current user stuff. Just read the files. Anything that's to do with files. Don't write to files. Just read the files in accessible files. Read content and render image from files. Read the file metadata. Read for file version. Design systems, library asset read, library content read. Okay, fine. Team library content read, no. Developer dev resource. This I think this is fine. Yeah, since we don't want to read users. We don't want to write. We don't want to give you access to write. We just want to read the design and the entire document, the entire data about the design, the metadata, the version, everything about the design. Read it and then generate, be accessible to use by whatever AI is going to read it, and then use that to generate stuffs. So two things. I know this is just going to be more like a wrapper around whatever we are trying to build, but we want to be able to fine tune it and make it accessible to others. If I say, okay, I can do this and I just present it to you, of course, I'm not trying to build an LLM from scratch that does this. I'm going to be using an existing LLM to handle this scenario. So, yeah, those are the two things, right? So I'm going to generate this token. It's going to, oh my God, okay, yeah, it's copied. So that's fine. So now I will stop sharing this. I need to copy the token. But you guys might have seen it, but still, copy this token and go and paste it somewhere. So I stop sharing my screen so that I can paste it somewhere. Where Okay, so I can paste it in a secure place. So I'm pasting this securely by but at least I've shown you guys what you need, right? What you need to see. So I believe I've done justice to that. So going back to just a minute, I'm almost done. So I copied that, copy my access token, and okay, okay. I think that's all. All right. So yeah, let me close this now. Perfectly secured. Let me go back to sharing my screen. Sorry, I had to do that. It was just necessary. All right. So back to sharing. Uh, Okay, so now that everything is stored, I'm going to go back now to ChatGPT. It says I get my token, which is something like this. I'll use it like this, get a Figma file ID. So every Figma file has an ID in its URL, which is what we are going to use, right? So I'm going to pick one of the design that I have here, which I'm not sure which one. Probably pick anyone and use that to work. So there are a lot. Oh, yeah, I see one that makes sense here. So I might probably just use this. I think I like this one. So I'll copy the ID for this file and we'll use it. So we'll get the file ID as well. Then we'll do all of this. Here's your first API request, your whatever this is, then the return document styles and all of this. So okay, so I'll just say I want full Figma to this. Here is the app. I want generator. Okay, no, this is not what I want. So designer builder build UI plugin export UI. Yeah, this is what I want. So Figma to React Native generator, but not in this case React Native is generate my copy native UI component. Yeah. Okay. So yes. Uh, let me do this. Yes. Option 11. is exactly what I want to build. So I'm going to tell it to do this. So what it says is going to be a very powerful tool will be this, blah blah blah. Since I'm building this generate copy native UI components. So this is exactly what I want to do. So I'll tell it to do this. So by doing this, I might just tell it to like spin up something for me that I'm going to use and then see if you can build something from there. So yeah, so exactly, this is exactly what I want. So you get what I want. Architecturally, I will need a compiler pipeline. The reason why I need a compiler pipeline is simple. I want to be able to compile the nodes that are coming from Figma. I've not seen the node, but I assume that if I'm building something like this, since I'm building it in an architectural pattern using a tree pattern, which I assume Figma does, it's going to just be get all the nodes, get the values, get the components, get the style, compile them together for, or probably pass like keys and values to them. It's just probably a key value load, but it's going to be very large. So you get that, you pass it, just like a normal compiler will do, pass the whole tree, which is going to be more like an AST. Then you pass the tree, then convert each of the passed tree to something. Yeah, I'm using free ChatGPT as you can see. 3 messages remaining, blah blah blah, stuff. So below is the practical system architecture used by serious tools like Locify or Anima adapted for your Radix style primitive system. So it says Figma layout, Figma node tree, normalized UI AST, which is what I was talking about, the native UI primitives to React Native and Expo code. So think of it like a compiler. First thing is we have an high level system architecture, which would be something like this. Copy to Figma to copy native UI. So Figma fetcher, which is what we fetch the data, Figma parser, UI AST, copy native generator, then the CLI. So the Figma fetcher calls the Figma API, which is the first thing. Then the Figma parser converts the Figma JSON, which was what I was explaining just now, to a normalized UI tree, which is what you have from here. So the first one is just the Figma fetcher calls the Figma API, which is what we are researching all through before we jump into this option. So the second thing is after that, the Figma parser will do the whole passing, just like a compiler would do. Then the UI AST is the immediate design representation, which is what converts the JSON, the normalized UI tree, to the intermediate design representation. Like I was talking about, if I see flex and then under the flex, maybe from a particular frame, I see flex and I see gap and I see align center and I see justify content center. It's easier for me to go to convert that to something like this, to say flex, right? Flex direction row gap 3 because it's easy. We don't need to start converting that to understand Tailwind. Of course, most LLMs understand Tailwind. That is not the problem. You can even opt in to use Tailwind for this, but we want to use the native one because it makes your code faster. That way, we don't need to do any bit of overhead processing when your code runs. That's one of the reasons why we are going with this approach. It makes sense. And if AI can get it right, it's going to be one of the major choice options for building mobile applications because it just works. So the step one, according to back to this. After the UI AST, which is the abstract syntax tree, AST simply means the abstract syntax tree. Let me go back to this. So this is, you know what? I'm just going to. I don't want to paste this and I don't want to cancel this. So the first thing we need, it says we need certain things. One, we need the Figma fetcher, right? We need if we need the Figma fetcher. Two, we need the Figma parser. Three, we need the UI AST. AST means abstract syntax tree. Then number four, we need generator, which converts the AST to the actual native UI stuff. This is just the normalized UI tree, but then this converts it to the actual component, our actual components. Then the CLI, which is the developer tool to do all of those things. But we are not building a CLI, we are actually building a UI for it. But we start with something simple, right? So generator. So this is what we want to do. So how to build a UI builder from Radix native UI. So the name for this framework can change. I've not decided what the name is going to remain yet. But the reason why I made it Radix native UI is just because I wanted the Radix team to, if they wanted to, it was their choice. They could have decided to, you know, use it on the actual Radix repo. I didn't mind. I wasn't building it for launching it directly on my own repository. I messaged them to even see if they could do it, but I haven't gotten any response yet for weeks now, almost a month. But to release it eventually. It's just sitting on my laptop, so it doesn't make any meaning doing that. So I have to release it. And if I don't get any response eventually, I'm going to convert the name from Radix to Copy UI because yeah, that's the name of the lab that created it. So then we have the step 3, which is fetch the Figma file. Now the actual implementation begins. This is how the code looks like. Then we pass in. It's going to give me the document, style, component, and the node. The node is especially what I need. So then the next thing you have is the important part is the document your children. Oh wow, I was wrong. So okay. So we have which is the pass the Figma nodes. So okay. Node we know we need nodes. So convert it into a normalized node. We see this, convert it to something like this. So then the parser example is going to be something like this. Like I was saying, to read the type be text, the prop should be this, font size should be this. But interestingly, with all of those things, we can easily map it. So all we need to do now is we are going to build a mapper, a gigantic mapper. So it's going to be like maybe about 2,000 lines of code, but it's easy. We don't need to write the entire 2,000 lines of code. All I could just do is say, okay, AI, this is the rule I want you to follow. Look at this. Look at this. The first one is look at the component, right? And use the component to map it into the rules that guides creating this. So whenever you see a text, what does it do? It will do a cool job. Yes, it won't be perfect. So that is where I need to step in. Probably spend like 8 hours on trying to debug it. I mean, 8 hours of full checking the entire thing. So that and once we can do that, it doesn't even need to be at once. But the 8 hours can be split into 2 days, 4 hours in 2 days, and I'm done with the whole cleanup. But it makes my work significantly faster. So this is what the UI will probably look like. So in this case, we can map, just add the children to it. So if you see an accordion, for instance, you don't see an accordion directly from the Figma, I assume, but you should be able to think and say, okay, this looks like an accordion. That is where the AI will come in because we can't really map everything line by line, one by one. We can't. We can't. The AI we still need to assume that this is an accordion. So that is where we need to do a bit of more processing. So for instance, in our AST tree, we are just simply building. If you see things like flex, do this. If you see things like frame and it is stack, you can use our actual stack. Like you can see something like this. If you see a stack, just say use a type of stack. Like I said, I have other component that hasn't even gotten into the main the actual version that is released currently. We have things like stack, and stack works as you can see. You can stack things like this, you can stack things like this, you can stack things anyhow you choose to stack them. You can stack them in the middle with different stuffs. You can see here stack between, stack around, stack flex, center, start, even stack evenly. All of those things work. So then you have like align also. You can see the align flex, center, flex end, stretch. All of those things work. Yeah. So you see, so this is easy to work with. If you have things like this, all we can do is convert that stack to an actual stack. Once the layout is out of the picture, you can get an actual layout. You see, adding component into the layout is very, very easy for AI. But actually processing the layout for anybody, in fact, not just the AI generally, even programmers, developers, if you do a lot of UI development, maybe front end or mobile, you come across these issues almost every time. You have that issue whereby your text overflows, or you have where issues where your components tend to overflow where they should not, or you have things that whenever someone scales, it just breaks the whole layout. Those are issues. But if you can use all of this layout to provide the stack, the spacer, the okay, okay, basically, I think the stack works best. The stack, the flex, the box, and all of those other ones to actually guide the AI before adding content into it. I can promise that is going to be a whole lot of ease on the AI itself. It will always work. It's from experience, we've always seen it. So then the next thing that's going to happen is map the Figma layout to Radix primitives, which is my copy native UI primitive, which likely includes things like stack, which I was explaining, text, button, avatar, input, and card, which is true. So the interesting thing why I went with this is because if AI has been trained on any data from 2003, sorry, 2023 or thereabout, we can be sure that AI has access to all of these Radix teams documentation, and it should know how to use it. And if you know how to use this, you know how to use our own, you know how to use the native counterpart of it because it's literally one to one. For instance, look at the way this is defined: flex, direction, row, gap, box, box, box. If you go to the actual Radix documentation, you can see the same thing: flex, gap 3, box, box, box. Literally the same thing. So if you can use this, so I didn't pick something that the AI cannot understand. I picked something that the AI can literally understand very, very well. That has been trained over like 4 or 5 years. So it should be able to understand it without stress. That's another reason why I went for this for Radix UI, because of course I'm sure he has trained over it for like maybe 8 to 10 iterations. Imagine how many AI came out between 2000 and 2023 and now. That's within these 3 years. It's massive, right? So exactly what we are talking about. So that means we can then go back to ChatGPT and say yes, we can have this. So it's going to create a map itself. So mapping examples, for instance, the frame vertical will give you stack, frame horizontal will give you stack row, text is text, rectangle with image is image, component button is a button, right? We can use all of this. We can even decide to not use stack but use flex or use stack within the flex. It just depends. So we can now begin to map, like I was talking about. The map is going to be a gigantic map that we're going to map using the mapping logic. And then from there, we begin to generate the native code. Everything AI does is just what you see here. This is typically what your Claude does, your ChatGPT does, whatever AI is out there. This is what they do. It's just a concatenation of strings to produce stuff for you based on their assumptions. It's not okay, not really assumption, based on smart assumption. Let me use the word smart assumption because they are more like autocomplete. That's what AI is, just adding output based on certain this case. And it's fairly easy to do. It's not complex, it's not difficult. It just requires you to do your own mapping. So this is where you need to keep tweaking every single time to refine it. It won't be perfect the first time I release it. It will create shitty stuff, which I'm not actually, I won't be surprised, and I'm not really afraid to see. But as long as I can get the layout working, probably even just a page that does the right thing for me, I'm good. We can refine it and refactor it. And that means if you create something like this, it can generate text like this for me, which is going to make me super happy. Because now I know that if you can create this for me itself without me needing to do anything, by creating login to continue as a button, text using the stack, oh my god, then yeah, we're good to go. And that basically makes sense. So step 5, which is the uh what we saw earlier from Escalidro, step 5 is okay, not the same. Extra design tokens. So you should automatically convert Figma styles into design token.js, which should do something like this. Now, okay, I think I prefer this idea. So what if you create the token itself, the Figma styles itself, and convert it into a design token and use that token in our framework, because it's just going to be a map too. So wherever you see colors primary, we know that there's no primary colors in our context, but we can actually create that color for you because we have a strong color creation setting in the is it guide? Yeah, I think it's guide. Yeah, styling and how to use colors. I think API references, color helpers. So we have a way to use colors here. So which is, like I said, it's fully documented. So we have a way to use colors. You can create your own custom colors. It's very customizable as well. So you can create your own color also. We have the color palette display. You can do something like this to get all the colors and the shades and blah blah blah. You can look through it to create something like this to give you the color palette display. I wish I was here. I would just add that here and probably add it to displays, and you see all the colors are accessible. Um, but then even without that, I think I can show you the colors. So if I go to buttons, button has different colors, but not much. Let's go to checkboxes. Nope, not sure. Yeah, this has a lot of colors, but not that much. But basically, just realize that whatever color you see in Radix, let me show you this. Whatever color you see here from Radix colors here, these are the colors we have also. So we, like I said, is very very close to Radix. In fact, it's exactly what Radix is. well, not at the development side of things, but this is for web, that is for mobile. But you get the idea. But we made it such that it is one to one in terms of documentation, colors, so really don't lose anything. So if you have with Radix web application, you can easily just one shot convert it. Just copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, and it works the same way. Like from the theme provider down to any other component you want to use. Think about the components. Is this scroll area? Okay, we don't have scroll. Okay, we have scroll area. Yeah, scroll area works. Icon button works. Overcard. I don't have an overcard because you don't really need that. But we have almost every other thing. Call out works. Yes, we have call out. Check boxes, check those group, check those card, context menu, data list, dialog, drop down, icon button, pop over, progress, radio, all of these things exist. And I can show you, like it's here. So we have the progress. This is the progress. Okay. I've not added the back stuff to it, but you can see this is the progress. Oh no. Why did I have to do that? Yeah, okay, so that is basically what I was trying to show you guys. So back to this. So I might have to think about this. So that means I won't be building this today, but I think I have a way of how this can work now. So we can have a CLR2 that does that conversion for us. And we have step 7, optional Figma plugin, highly recommended. Okay. We'll do that eventually. So advanced feature, the killer feature, detect copy UI native component automatically. Figma component name slash primary, auto generate variant primary, which is what we want. Yes, makes sense. Which is what I want actually. So then we have the ideal tech stack, TypeScript, this and all of this, optional Baba AST, project structure component. What makes this powerful? Designing Figma, run CLI, get expo screen code, which is golden. Then strategic opportunity because React Native looks good on a Radix style system. Exactly my point. You see that AI says the same thing. A Figma to copy native UI generator could become Radix UI for mobile plus design to code pipeline. It's a very strong developer platform play. If you like, I can show you the full architecture is by this, how to build this, how to auto detect this and this and this. So what I'm going to tell it is uh, generate me a an agent.md file on how to build this, but with a slight change. I want to build this an as a UI. Okay, you know what? Let's do this first. If you can do this, we can convert it from this. If you can fix this, no, no. With it, I want to build this as a UI builder, something similar to both.new, to how both.new works, which takes a Figma link and provides the code from that Figma design. Exactly what I want to do. So I wanted to generate the agent.md file. So that will give me access to prompt any other UI, whether GPT, the other UIs I kind of use. I can even pass to Gemini to see what they one shot. So interestingly, I want to one shot something from this and see if I can do that. Interestingly. So what I wanted to do is, yeah, contains the architecture and implementation for this. Okay, wait, what did I do? Agent.md is not what I want. Oh, Jesus. Oh my God. Okay, fine. Let's write the agent.md. I'm going to tell it to now create what I want actually. I want to be able to, I want a prompt. What do they call the prompts MD file again? Okay, yeah, this works. The agent domain works. Contains the architecture and implementation for Figma. This similar behave similar to modern AI builders. Link to code tools where user provide the link, blah blah blah. It's to produce clean code, not a visual representation. Exactly. So this is what I want here. So platform will support the following: accept the Figma if URL, pass design structure, interpret auto layout, map this to copy native URL component. Yeah, so two things. High level architecture probably should be structured as a modular repo, which I like. Figma copy native builder. Oh, that's a terrible name. The app should be builder web API. Hmm. Okay, that's fine. Then we have the package. I We will not like it to be okay, fine. It can be an API because well, we can actually add it to the same monorepo as the actual link. So we don't need to pass anything over the wire. It should be extremely faster that way. And then we can expose API to other services that want. That's the idea. So I write backend, I understand how this works. Responsibilities of each module are defined below. Module responsibility, Figma client responsible for example API because like okay for Figma, yeah, that's fine. Then Figma parser is this, UI AST is this, layout engine is I don't like the UI layout engine that it's in here. But I'll go with this for now. I will change we proceed. So two things I'm going to do first of all is go to the repo for this itself and tell AI to generate a rule of passing this stuff first of all in a JSON file, in a key value pair, or probably a set of rules that will be followed. That set of rules is what is going to guide any AI on how to convert it from a builder or a link. So what I want to do is remember this aspect, this part of where is it? This part of the example that ChatGPT said, whereby you have a design token, .json. So this is going to be one of the things that we do, but this will be the entire thing. It will be two things. Where we have the map node functionality, whereby we map the actual AST, which is the abstract syntax tree that I explained the other time. Where we map the AST and we map it to an actual representation of our UI framework, right? So it's going to be we are mapping AST to so it's be like we are mapping this to this library. That's exactly what it's going to be. So we are mapping it to the Radix native UI. So it's going to be mapped. So whenever we see that, we need to create a set of rules that can map that conveniently in terms of all the components that exist, in terms of component like the inputs, like the colors, like every single thing we have, right? So that's what we are going to do. So back to the angels MD is going to extract, yeah, that's going to work also. So we are going to have the component mapper to make changes to this first of all. Like I said, the alignment will work, spacing will work. We have some rules that should follow. So we are going to use the rules for this first of all. So the next thing that is going to happen here is we are going to have the builder web application. The web app has like a UI builder interface, which will make sense. I don't understand. Okay, Monaco editor. Oh yeah, that's true. If I want to do that, oh she's okay. You know what? I don't want to go through that route of having a Monaco editor. That's a big challenge. I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is just have a view. Okay, you know what? I'm going to leave the Monaco editor. It's just going to have a tab. It's going to be the code and whatever that is. Oh no. Okay, I think I might have to I have to restructure this for what I want. API layer Android DFV processing, which is for Figma. Example flow URL is this. I pass in this. It's extract the file key, fetch design, pass node tree, convert to this, map to generate the expo screen, which is valid. Result is login screen.tsx. AI assisted improvement. The system may optionally use AI to improve generation. Definitely, we have to use AI to improve generation. We can't map the entire thing. Possible AI tags, infer component semantics, very much correct. Detect buttons versus containers, 100%. Infer form fields, 100%. Optimize layout next thing. Yeah, definitely too. Rename components. Yeah, that's not really a problem. Performance configuration. Live Figma files can contain thousands of nodes. Yeah, I know that for a fact. I'm very sure that can be an issue, but we can do it. What we can do is we can split all the nodes depending on what they are. First thing we need to do is to take time, yes, but we can get the nodes. And since that is an issue, of course, Claude Code does all of this well. We can just pass it to Claude, in fact, without needing to do anything. It might be that simple. So rather than doing this, I might go another route. I might just create a skill for Claude Code that will just be installed and to follow it line by line. I might divert my attention to that. I just wanted to see if I could build this, but it's looking like it might be something that will take a while to do. So rather than doing that, what I'm going to do is I'll create a skill. Okay, fine. I might not create a skill. I don't like using a skill. It's too vulnerable for my liking, but we might find a way to make sure it works well for Claude so that Claude can use it to build very beautiful stuff. And then once we pass it to AI, well, AI should be able to suggest it for other people because it works. Like it gives you all the defaults you need for building any mobile app, whatever it is, whatever the app is, whatever style you want to build. Very good color system. Of course, it's not running, but you guys understand what I'm trying to say. And we can even use it to build an app. Probably I'll create another video where I use it to build an app live and you guys see how fast it can be. I'll build anything too. Anything I can just select, any app at all. Use it to build any app, whether finance, whether medical, health, agriculture, generic, social media, whatever kind of app you want to do, whatever, we can use it to build it. Is that versatile? So yeah, large Figma files can contain thousands of nodes and important strategies. Only pass visible pages, only generate selected frames, catch fetched designs, which is very important, the bounce regeneration, which is true. Security challenges, API must avoid exposing private tokens, which I already did. I already did that. So this is server-side Figma API says, expose token to browsers. Yeah, definitely not going to do that. So that's why we need the API backend stuff to work. So we're going to need that. So like I said, I might actually rethink the way I want to do this. This is going to be a lot of work to do, and I don't want to have to do that. I have too many things I'm working with. I'm trying to ensure this continues to improve. I'm trying to build one other project that I have working that's which I'll discuss that in another video, but it's a cool project too. I'm just by putting a lot of things in stage too. So yeah. So phase one, phase two, phase three, end goal. So this is a pretty good agent or MD file. I'm sure if I give it to AI, I can just give it to AI and go rest. I will just orchestrate it to just work once. That should be valid for my use case. So yeah, we're going to do that. Yeah. So that will be it for this video. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you to everyone that joined and that watched this. So I'm going to actually make another session very, very soon, probably in the next few hours, where I'm going to use this library to build an application, a total application, a full-fledged application from scratch. Thinking of, I'll just pick any application I feel is cool. And like I said, if you are familiar with like trying it out also, you can give it to any AI and tell the AI using Y, build me an app. Trust me, it's going to do it. It's going to do it. In fact, I will do that. Like I said, I am going to do it in our video very, very soon, maybe in the next few hours. I'll just tell it using this, build me an application and just watch what it's going to build. And I'm sure it's going to do a very good job. Okay, so that'll be it from me today. Thank you guys for watching. This is just to show you how I plan to do this. I'll be doing that in another video. Maybe in the next phase, in the next episode of this video, I'm going to show you how I'm going to start. And like I said, I might take another approach. I've not decided. I might not need to build the entire thing. Like I said, Plot Code does the same thing. OpenAI does this too. You can just give them an app. Gemini does the same. Give them a screen, tell them to build, they'll just build. But my issue with it is that they build crap for you the first time. You need to refine it. Sometimes if you one shot it, if it's a simple app, they can just one shot with anything. But your app still becomes bloated and big. You don't need that amount of things. They install too many things you don't need for you most times. And the app becomes bigger. You want actual apps that makes it easy for your users to use. To download is not a problem because it doesn't have any impact as much on the size of their devices, but it still gives them a very good experience that they get with top end devices because it will be faster. In fact, to give you the same experience, it gives you inbuilt default out of the box. Other things that you may want, right? All the components you may want without needing to overhead time for AI also faster build time. If you want all of those things, try Radix Native UI. It works well. That's all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed whatever was shared, and thank you guys for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye for now.